watch this lesson, click on the link that's right below this video, and that will take you over to practicetheguitar.com, and there you can practice these 8 blues rock licks at 15 different tempos with full notation, tablature, a full lesson video, and backing tracks, all designed to help you to improve your playing. Go check it out. This blues rock lesson incorporates 8 different licks that uses a whole bunch of different techniques, all designed to help you to improve your soloing. And we cover everything from oblique bends, to double stops, to sixth sliding licks, to quarter step bends, half step bends, hammer-ons, pull-offs, as well as use of the flat 9 in a blues lick, as well as the major third. Just a whole bunch of different techniques that are super useful for building your own solos, your own improvised ideas and melodies. So if you're not familiar with the pentatonic scale, that's the first thing we want to go over here. And pretty much this entire exercise covers the pentatonic scale with the exception, only a few exceptions, which if you don't know the pentatonic scale, here it is in the key of A. Starting on the 5th fret of the 6th string, it's A, C, D, E, G, and then A. So that's the 5th fret, and then the 8th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. Then we continue on to the next octave. We go to the 5th fret on the 3rd string, 7th fret on the 3rd string, 5th fret on the 2nd string, 8th fret on the 2nd string, and then 5th fret on the 1st string, and then the 8th fret on the 1st string. So the whole scale. This is the one scale to know on the guitar if you don't know any others. It's the most common scale played on the guitar. To cover oblique bends, the idea is that you're taking 2 adjacent strings and either bending them to the pitch of either a major or minor third or to octave, such as like taking this D and bending it to the pitch of E, which E is here on the 2nd string. And the dissonance of those 2 notes ringing together really give you a very interesting and effective tool for making intense phrases between those 2 notes. Another way to do that is to, say, in this pentatonic scale, instead of using this note, the E, we could bend the D up to the pitch of E, and then use your 4th finger to play the G on the 2nd string. Makes for this very more dissonant type sound because we're bending the D and bending it to the pitch of E and then playing a G on top, which is a minor third. So to get this sort of sound, super useful, love the sound of that. Now again, we can do the same thing on the 1st and 2nd string just by taking the C here and the G here. That would give you the minor third. Notice when I'm bending, I'm using all 3 fingers to support the 3rd finger. You could also do the octaves, meaning the A, and then bending G up to the pitch of A. The stretch is wider on that one. It's definitely harder. And then the other thing that we're covering here is this sort of sliding 6th interval type thing. So what I'm doing in this exercise is just simply using something that outlines the D major scale, just because we're kind of implying A7 here, so this gives you this A mixolydian sound. And if you're not familiar with what A mixolydian is, that is the mode of a major scale, and that is something that you definitely want to work on. There's tons of lessons for this on my site at practicetheguitar.com. But what I'm covering here is just so between those 2 strings, we're outlining the D major scale, which is helping us sort of cover this A major, A7 type vibe. Super useful effect for when you're writing solos. It just sounds great. You can let the notes ring together, or you can separate them. Then for the next technique that we're covering here is half-step bends. Say, for example, if you're in the pentatonic scale, if I take this note, the C, and go down a half step, play the B, and bend it up to the pitch of C, it gives me this very vocal-like type bend, but I'm still staying within the minor pentatonic scale. It's a really useful effect because it really is very voice-like. So you can use that to build cooler phrases and to add some variety onto your bending. The other thing that we can do is a quarter step bend, which is used in this exercise here. And that's really where you're just only bending just the tiniest bit, below a half step, but slightly just above the actual pitch. And again, this gives us the same effect, very vocal-like sound. Covering this sort of flat 9 thing against the pentatonic scale, which in A, the flat 9 is B flat. And this is a common technique which just gives you this very dissonant sort of hammer pull type effect. The idea there is that you're playing this A going to B flat and then going back to A again. So you can see if I pull that out of context, it's a very ugly sound. In context, that dissonance is what helps you to build that tension to finish the phrase and to make the phrase sound very musical. And then another thing that I'm doing here is because the chord progression goes to an E, I'm also incorporating this G sharp idea into that phrase, which on a blues turnaround or when a chord progression goes, it builds a lot of tension to use the major third against a chord like this, especially in a blues and rock set. So that's what's happening at the end of this phrase. I'm going, that's taken from the E major pentatonic scale. I'm just stealing that note from that scale in conjunction with the A minor pentatonic scale that's pretty much being outlined here in this entire lick. But you'll hear people like Stevie Ray Vaughan or Joe Bonamassa play those type of licks on turnarounds all the time, just because it incorporates those different techniques and gives you those sounds. Definitely a must know. So these 8 licks will, like I said, help you to improve just your technique, get a better understanding of how these different sounds are made over chord progressions and how to use them in context. In other words, learning the entire 8-measure phrase or 8-measure set of licks. That will help you to connect these ideas and learn how to make them sound musical and how to actually use them. You'll find all of these licks with a full lesson at my site at practicetheguitar.com. So once you're done here, just click on the link that's right below. That will take you right over to the page. You can sign up. You can access everything. Full lesson video, tablature, notation, all the backing tracks at all the different tempos. It's the ultimate practice tool to help you to build your technique as well as your speed. Hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you next time.